everyone, Miss Karen here, and welcome to Playtime. So, we're going to go ahead and get started today by finding my handy dandy whistle. Yes, and here it is. Because we always use our whistle to get ourselves started so that our minds are ready for a book and our bodies are all ready for a book. And it's always good to get up and move around a little bit anyways, right? So here we go. Remember, when the whistle goes up, you're going to stand up. And when the whistle comes back down again, you're going to go and sit down. All right, here we go. Just follow along. You're back down and sitting. Here we go. Get up on those tippy toes as high as you can. Oh, let's reach those arms right out in front of you. Oh, good stretching. Okay, let's come down off of your tippy toes. Let's do a little bit of our wiggles. Get our wiggles on for today. Here we go. Good wiggling. That was a lot of fun. All right, how about if we put our hula hoops on? That's always a fun one. Here, put the hula hoop on. Here we go. We're going to do hula hoop, hula hoop. Did you keep that hula hoop up? I sure did, right where it belonged there. All right, let's do a little bit marching in our place. Marching in our place and marching in our place. How about while we're marching, let's do a little kick while we're marching. We'll kick. We'll do something like this. March, 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 kick. March, 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 kick. March, 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 kick. March, 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 kick. That was an interesting one, wasn't it? Okay, how about try this one? Let's pretend that we have something that we are moving around, like a stirring motion, just like this. Just like we're stirring something. Here we go. Good job. Now how about if we do, like we're tapping. Who doesn't like a good tap, right? Tap, 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 tap. Use your finger just like that. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, let's do it with the whistle. Ready? Good job. We haven't done that before, have we? All right, let's go ahead and go around a little circle, and we're going to get ready to sit down. Here we go. And you're right back down in your chair or on the floor. All right, so now we're all set to do our playtime song. For any of you who are just joining, remember, we use a couple of little hand motions. Just take your hands, put them in a little fist, and pop out your thumbs and your pinkies. And that is playtime. And then we're reading a book. Okay, we're singing a song, dancing and running. And that's it. All right, so let's listen for our music and we'll do our playtime. So get your playtime hands all ready for us. Here we go. Playtime. It's time for playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. for playtime, everyone. It's time for playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. It's time for playtime, everyone. Can you stand up? Get those wiggles out, Friday, Friday jiggles out. Good job. Always feels good, doesn't it? Let's go around a little circle, right around yourself. Now let's do a little of that stirring like we were before. Stirring. And how about that tapping? Tap, 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 tap. Let's sit down. Here we go. It's time for playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. It's time for playtime, everyone. It's time for playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time for playtime, everyone. Awesome! You did a great job on that. I could almost hear all of that singing and moving from here. So, we're going to get started. Now, I kind of gave you a little clue if you saw something on our website as to what our story was going to be for today, but just in case you missed it, I have this handy dandy bag here. And in my bag, I have all kinds of things that are going to give me clues to what our story is about and what we're going to do in our story. So here is my first clue. I wonder what this can be. Does anyone know what this is? How about if I put it on? It might make it a little easier. This is an apron. This is an apron here. And I'm just going to tie it around the back of me here. Does anyone know what you use an apron for? Well, there's a couple of things that you can use an apron for. But usually you want to put an apron on so that it can protect your clothes. Because if you got something really nice on, you don't want to get it all messy. And you might use it in the kitchen, but I've seen people use aprons when they're painting. Now say you were going to do painting at school or even at home, and you don't want to get your clothes all dirty. You could put an apron on like this to keep your clothes nice and clean. Or if you might have an old t-shirt, or a mommy or daddy or a brother or sister has an old t-shirt that's a little bit long, you can put that right on and it will protect you. So that's our first clue. We have an apron. So let's see what else we have here. This, can you tell what that is? This is a bowl, a mixing bowl. So we have a mixing bowl. It's nice and big. You can put all kinds of things in there. A mixing bowl. An apron and a mixing bowl. Let's see what else we have here. Well, let's see. That should look familiar. That's a spoon. Isn't that the type of spoon you would use to eat your cereal in the morning? No? It is kind of big, isn't it? This is a mixing spoon for when you're trying to mix big things and you need a nice big strong spoon. It's a nice wooden one. So that is a spoon, a wooden spoon. Now one more thing here. Let's see what I have. Do you know what these are? Look at them. These are called measuring spoons. And I'll show you real quickly. You have a big one, which is your tablespoon. Then you have the next size, which is a teaspoon. You can see it's smaller circle. Then you have the half teaspoon. And finally you have the 1/4 teaspoon. And they go from small to large or large to small. So, an apron, some measuring spoons, a mixing wooden spoon, and a bowl. Do you have an idea of what we're going to do? I'll bet you do. And I think I hear some of you saying, we are going to be making something. Making something. Because we don't want to get ourselves dirty in the kitchen. So we're going to go ahead and start with our book. Our book is going to give you a really good clue as to where we are going. Baking Day at Grandma's. Baking Day at Grandma's. And it looks like this is probably Grandma right here. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3 little bears. 3 little bears. So let's find out about our story and what's happening. And while you're going through, see if you happen to see anything that Miss Karen brought up. The apron, or the measuring spoons, or a wooden spoon, mixing bowl. Here we go. Baking Day at Grandma's. It's baking day. It's baking day. It's baking day at Grandma's. Well, it sure looks like it's winter because they have their winter hats on and their mittens and their coats, and I see lots of snow. So I'd say probably in winter. Bundle up. It's time to go out across the drifts of snow. And if you could see, this must be where they left. That must be their house. They're all going across the open field to Grandma's house. Past the pond, so smooth and clear, little cottage drawing near. Well, they do have a little bit of a walk to get to Grandma's, don't they? But they get nice fresh air and lots of exercise. Knock, knock, knock on Grandma's door. Hear her pad across the floor. Plant a kiss on Grandma's nose. Cozy fire, warming toes. Oh, how nice. They've got a fire going inside, so everyone can be nice and toasty. All right. Oh, boy. It's baking day. It's baking day. It's baking day at Grandma's. What do you see here? That looks like a bowl, right? But I don't think he's supposed to have it on his head. But yeah, a bowl. I see a wooden spoon here. I see something else here. This thing is called a whisk. A whisk. So they're getting ready to do some baking. Pass out aprons, 1, 2, 3. Grandma reads the recipe. Flour, sugar, butter, eggs. Stand on chairs with tippy legs. Oh, they have aprons just like we had because they want to make sure they keep themselves nice and clean. And of course, she has to read the recipe because Grandma has to know what ingredients or what types of things go into whatever they're making. And it looks like they have to have some sugar and some butter and eggs. So here's some sugar and some butter and eggs and flour. Can't wait to see what they're going to make here. Wooden spoon and measuring cup. Mix the batter, stir it up. Fold it gently in the pan. Lick the spoon because we can. Oh, who doesn't like to lick the spoon after you're done, right? And there's the spoon, and oh, boy, it looks like they're making something chocolate. Oh, one of Miss Karen's favorites. Chocolate. I wonder what they could be making. Well, let's see. It's baking day. It's baking day. It's baking day at Grandma's. Well, now let's see. If you look over here, it looks like Grandma has put the dark brown mixture in here, which is probably chocolate, in a pan. What could it be? You know, it could be a cake. What else is chocolate and it goes in a pan? Maybe brownies? Oh, could be. Oh, both of them are yummy, aren't they? Let's just see. Hop down from the tippy chair, smell the sweetness in the air. One hot cocoa at each place, frosty window, smiley face. So they're all having a cup of hot cocoa while they wait. Because when you're baking, you have to put it in an oven, whatever you're making, that's going to be yummy, and you have to wait for it to cook. Because you can't eat it if it's not cooked. Old-time music, soft and sweet, skipping notes and tapping feet, learning songs that Grandma sings when the kitchen timer rings. What do you think that kitchen timer would sound like if it was ringing? What do you think that would sound like? Maybe I can get some help. I wonder what it'd sound like.
Ding, ding, ding.
I'll bet that would be exactly. And that lets you know that it's time to take out whatever you have in the oven. And they're all waiting. It's baking day, it's baking day, it's baking day at Grandma's. Looks like they might be doing a little dancing here in the kitchen while they're waiting. Flip the pan and out it pops. Cut in squares and frost the tops. Add some sprinkles, wrap each one. Tie a ribbon, nearly done. Let's see, it looks as though they have taken what was in the pan, and I think those look like brownies. And they put some frosting on them and put some sprinkles. And look, they even put them in little packages and tied them up. Usually something like that might be a little gift. Maybe they're going to give it to someone who maybe hasn't had a brownie in a long time. It's a nice little gift to get. Tasty treats in pretty bags, each one marked with little tags. Coats and boots and hats and gloves, the hugs we know that Grandma loves. So, looks like they might be getting ready to go back home. They're giving hugs to Grandma. They got their hats on and their gloves and their coats. And they have all of the little packages to take with them that would have little brownies inside. Ooh, it got a little dark outside, didn't it? It's baking day. It's baking day. It's baking day at Grandma's. And off they go. Oh, it's always so nice to visit Grandma. It's nice to visit lots of different people. We don't get a chance to do that too much lately, but we will. Walking home under the moon, back to visit Grandma soon. Here they go, they're heading home. And they probably cannot wait to get back to Grandma again. Maybe do some more baking or something else that's fun. So the end. Wow, what did you think of that? I thought that was a great book. So, in our book we saw all kinds of different things that we had used earlier and shown you, the bowl and the mixing spoon and our measuring spoons, and we have a few other things that we're going to talk about today. But you know what? I thought it would be fun. Just like the little bears going to Grandma's house, they made something yummy. And I thought, let's pretend, because we always like to use our imaginations and pretend. Why don't we pretend to whip up something really yummy too? So, remember what they made in our story? I think it was brownies, wasn't it? So let's pretend to make some brownies, all right? I've got all of our our ingredients that we need right here in front of us. So, we're going to whip up some yummy brownies. All right. So the first thing we have is we have our mixing bowl here, right? So I'm going to put this off to the side real quick because we'll need that in a little bit. All right. Now, I didn't show you this. This is a measuring cup, all right? And it's got a little handle on it, and you can fill it up. It has, if you can see on the side, it might be harder to see, but they actually show you a cup or half a cup or 3/4 of a cup, and you fill it up to the lines, how much that you need. So we're going to use our measuring cup for making our pretend brownies today. So let's get started. Now the first thing we need though is we need a recipe just like they had in the book. And I happen to have one right here. And it's called Yummy Brownies. So here are our yummy brownies. Now what's fun about this is I have put this yummy brownie recipe on the website. And you can copy it and you can print it and you can make some yummy brownies too. And this is all from scratch. All right, so let's go ahead and follow our recipe here. Okay, the first thing it says is I have to heat my oven to 350. Well, I just did that before we started, so it's all nice and hot and all ready to have our brownies go in. So let's start off with our butter. All right, so we have to put in some butter, right? So because we're pretending, we're just going to go and pretend like we're putting in our butter. Oh, there's our butter. Boy, that was a lot of butter, wasn't it? So there's our butter. Now, let's see. Next, our recipe says that we have to have some sugar. Now, I put some sugar in here, but what I would do is I would open this up and I would pour it in here. So I'm going to pretend like I'm pouring it. There's all of my sugar. And I'm going to put my sugar in there. All right, good job. All right. Now we need to do a little bit of mixing, all right? Got to get some mixing done in there. There we go. There you go. Everything mixed up there. All right. We're tapping. Tapping, get a little bit off. There we go. All right. Next is going to be our eggs. All right. So we have our eggs right here. All right. Here's our eggs. So let's go ahead and get cracking here. There we go. Let's do this one first. There we go. Perfect. We'll go ahead and put that over there. And we're going to put in 4 of them. Okay, there's that one. Okay, we've got another one right here. Ready? Perfect. We'll put the other things over here so that we can throw. Oh, there we go. Got all of our eggs in. All right. Let's do a little more of our stirring. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? It's fun. There we go. Ooh, it's looking good. All right. Now, I think we need to put some cocoa in. Now, some of you may not have seen this kind of cocoa. This is cocoa that you use for baking cocoa. It smells delicious. It looks delicious. But it doesn't taste really delicious because you have to put sugar in it. All right? But it's wonderful to have around. And since we're going to be using this, we have to look at our recipe and see how much they want us to use. They want us to use a half a cup of it. So, I'm going to take my half a cup. Again, just pretending. All right, perfect. And now I'm going to put that in also. Ooh, it's looking good and smelling good too. All right. Here we go. And round and round and round and round. Oh, it's looking better and better. All right. Next I have some flour. I'm going to put my flour in. Now my flour says I need 2 cups of it. So I'm just going to pretend like I'm putting my flour in. There we go. Get that all in there. Perfect. And a little bit of the mixing again. All right. Oh, looking good. Gotta get the sides. Tap off. There we go. Now, use my measuring spoons. Now, my measuring spoons, I want to use a smaller one. I'm going to use the 1 teaspoon, which is going to be this one right here. And I'm going to use some vanilla. Now, I got this special vanilla when I went down to Mexico last year. So, I'm going to use this because vanilla smells so good. I'm going to put a little of my vanilla in here. You don't need a whole lot. And we're going to add that to our mixture here. All right? And get it all nice and stirred around. All blended in so there's no lumps. I think we're ready to put it into our pan. So here's our pan. All right? So I sprayed this a little bit earlier, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump everything in. There we go. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, I'm going to spread it all around. All right. Oh, this looks so good. It smells so good. Oh, we made some bread. All right, so Miss Karen is going to go put this in our oven. All right, and it's going to go in for a little while until the buzzer goes off, the little dingy. All right, let me put all of our ingredients back over here and out of the way. So you know what? If you remember in our story, while they were waiting, they did some fun things. And I thought that maybe we would go ahead and sing a little song. It's called Baking Day at Grandma's. How's that sound? Now, if you happen to have some things around like I just had, a pan or a spoon, a wooden spoon, or you could just use your hands to clap, that would be fine too. But I'm going to use a few things here. I'm going to use my spoon. I'm going to use a pan, and I'm also going to use my measuring spoons. All right, so here we go. You can stand up if you want. We're going to do our Baking Day at Grandma's. Baking Day at Grandma's, baking day. Head on out to Grandma's house because it's baking day. Head on out to Grandma's house because it's baking day. Big and round, my pan is big and round. When I hit my big pan, it makes a big round sound. When I hit my big pan, it makes a big round sound. Spoon to stir, I got my spoon to stir. Tap off the batter, and this is what I heard. Yes, tap off the batter, and this is what I heard. Measuring spoons, a bunch of measuring spoons. Perfect for a small amount, shake my measuring spoons. Perfect for a small amount, shake my measuring spoons. Spoons, here we go. I'm going to put it together. Baking Day at Grandma's, baking day. Head on out to Grandma's house because it's baking day. Head on out to Grandma's house because it's baking day. Head on out to Grandma's house because it's baking day. Woo! It's like we had our own little orchestra going, right? Oh, well, that was a lot of fun. Oh, so I thought that maybe our brownies would be ready yet, but I haven't heard our dinner just yet. So we better see if we can wait for that to happen because we better see if we can get our brownies out of the oven.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, I think that was it. So let's go see if our brownies are ready. Here we go. Ooh, oh my gosh, they smell so good. Oh, look it. Oh, you know what? That doesn't look like pretend. That, I think, is the real stuff there. That's like magic. Oh, they smell so good. Well, if you get to follow the brownie recipe that I left on our website, you're going to have something that looks quite like this. Now, I do want to tell you though, I made a half of the batch. So this is half a batch. A bigger batch, we use a 9 by 13 pan. And moms would know what that is, all right? So this is just enough for our family here. But you know what? In our story, we also had our little bear. They cut all of the little pieces of our brownies and they gave me as gifts. So I thought that maybe if you have something that someone you wanted to give gifts to, you could do the same thing. So let me show you what you could use. First of all, I just used a little bag like this, just a little snack bag. And I would cut the brownies and stick it inside. And on my website, I also have some little tags that you can attach to your brownies to give to people. Now, if you wanted to fancy it up a little bit, you could find a little bag like this. I found a little bag, and you can put a couple of them in here. I might take these to my dad, all right? And then you can attach one of the little tags that I have on our website. It goes with baking day. It actually says, to and from, made for you after reading Baking Day at Grandma's. Just like that. Also on our website, Miss Karen has put a couple of coloring sheets, because I like to find coloring sheets. And I know lots of times it's lots of fun to go ahead and color after you've read a story. So I have two different ones here. Baking in the Kitchen, right here. All right, that's one. And then I have a little boy and little girl. They're also baking in a kitchen. All right? All right? And then these are the blank tags that are also on our website. So that was an awful lot of fun being able to share with you some baking and learning a little bit about the different things that you need to use to bake. And make sure that you have someone helping you, because it's also a lot of fun when there's lots of you in the kitchen and you're making something very yummy, and then you can share that. That's the best part too. So we're going to wrap it up right now, and we're going to see you on Monday with Miss Trish. But before we go, I think we need to sing our goodbye song. Ready? Now make sure you sing right along with me. Here we go. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. I'll see you in 3 days. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.